Guys, today we're doing a very special video that I have been wanting to do for years, because for years I've been seeing other reactors do videos like this. But so now that I have my own channel, I'm going to finally do it, and today I'm going to be ranking everything that I watched this year in 2025. Yes, I am wearing, it's not a pajama, it's like this oversized hoodie that I just like to lounge about in because it's freezing, and I've got my tea which I'm drinking from in my new Star Wars mug that I got for Christmas. This video is just going to be kind of on the cozier side, just sitting down to chat about films and series that we have watched both on the channel and also in my own time. I did a poll and you guys wanted me to rank everything that I've watched, so I'm really excited to get into it. It's going to be almost like a recap to end of the year of everything that I've watched, and I'm really excited. I'm also a bit nervous because obviously this video is going to have a lot of opinions, so please take in mind that this video I have not made to piss anyone off. We might have very different opinions on certain things. Like, I don't even leave reviews on Letterboxd, okay? Like, I'm not a film critic. I base things purely on how much I enjoyed them and how much fun I had when I was watching them, so please don't get offended. It's just meant to be a little bit of fun and just a cute video to do for the end of the year. So I've done 4 tiers, so because there's not been technically anything that I've not liked at all, the bottom tiers could have been better. So things that I've watched, it might have had some stuff that I liked about it, but overall it had maybe more negatives than positives. The next 2 tiers are quite self-explanatory, so we have good and amazing. Amazing is technically the top tier because the one above that is special place in my heart. For example, if I had rewatched Friends this year, Friends would go in a special place in my heart tier, and it might be on top of something like Interstellar. Does that mean that Friends is better than Interstellar? No, but Friends is a comfort show of mine that I've watched since childhood. Amazing is the top one, and then a special place in my heart is just something a little bit different, you know. Fallout Season 1, I'm gonna have to put it in amazing. I knew nothing about this besides that it was based on a game. Didn't know anything about the game. When it was revealed towards the end that it was the big corporations that started the nuclear war because that way they could eliminate the competitors and profit from it and basically just win in general, that's when I was like, okay, what I'm watching is on a whole new level. Like, I didn't expect the show to be like that, and it was a horrible reality check, don't get me wrong. It felt like a punch to the gut when they revealed that, and I was like, and then when they were talking about doing experiments, I was just like, okay, this is starting to hit too close to home now. Amazing, honestly, really liked it, and I've been enjoying season 2 so far as well. Requiem for a Dream, that is one that I watched earlier this year in my own time, and obviously I'd heard people talk about it before, and I'd seen people say that it was a horror film. So when I first started watching it, I was really confused because I was like, why people called it a horror film? And then the film finished, and I was like, oh, this film, brilliant, really good. I never want to watch it again. I think they should put this film on in every high school, because that way, I guarantee you, no one is touching drugs like ever. So I'm gonna have to put it in amazing, but like I said, will not be rewatching at any point in my life. Squid Game, I put season 2 and 3 together. So overall, I think Squid Game is a show that season 1 was brilliant, and then there was just kind of a slow decline in quality and writing throughout the season 2 and 3. I still think season 2 was good. Season 2 brought me comfort during a time. So basically, my grandmother passed away earlier this year, and it was when I just started to react to Squid Game, and my whole family went to the UK and they were all together, and I chose to stay at home. And the only thing that I felt like doing was watching and reacting to Squid Game season 2. It brought me a lot of comfort for some reason during a really difficult and shitty time. But I think because of how upbeat it was, weirdly enough, the really lovable characters that they introduced, which I think carried this season, and the games were also really interesting. I think overall it was good. I don't know if I could put it, I think I'm gonna have to put it in good, because even though it's a special show for me because of the reason I just said. The last episode was disappointing. Season 3, however, I'm gonna have to put in could have been better because it could have been better. Basically, I did do a video I was invited to on the Reactorverse to talk about season 3 of Squid Game with other reactors. So if you want to know more about like my opinions and stuff, you can go check out that video. It was a really fun one to do. It was just, I don't know what happened to the writing. It had some good parts, but the ending in general I didn't like. I didn't like how it ended. The final game with a bunch of basically strangers and characters that we'd never really met, who were just stereotypical bullies wanting to kill a baby. And I mean, the whole thing with the baby, like, I get what they were going for. I just didn't really care about the baby. So yeah, it could have been better, and I think overall it wasn't like the worst ending ever, but I think it definitely, for Squid Game, I was hoping that it would be a lot better than what we got. So next is a film that I watched in my own time early this year, Lisa Frankenstein, and that is going special place in my heart. This film is me. If I had to describe myself using one film, it would be Lisa Frankenstein. I am Lisa Swallows. This is made by the same people who did Jennifer's Body, which is a film that I love, but this film was just everything that I want in a film. My only critique is that I wanted it to be like 8 hours long, and I haven't really seen anyone talk about it. I guess Jennifer's Body at first kind of flopped and then it became a cult classic, so maybe with this it will be the same. Okay, next, Sinners. I was nervous to watch this film because 9 times out of 10, when you watch a film that has been really hyped up by the internet, you watch it and you're disappointed, at least in my experience. This film, however, was not the case. I loved it. It had a bit of everything, so it was very emotional, it made me cry. Music and soundtrack was amazing. The vampire element and the way they portrayed vampires was so interesting, and Michael B. Jordan playing the twins was so good, and their relationship in general was so beautiful. I just can't think of anything that I didn't like about it or anything that I think they could have done better. It's definitely one of the best films that I've watched this year. Next one, I think a lot of you know where I'm gonna be putting Andor season 1 and season 2. When I started watching Andor, I'm gonna be honest, I said this before, but I was not looking forward to it because I was like, I'm not gonna like this. Like, I've seen the look of it, the vibe, like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. Not only is it my favorite Star Wars series, which I can't really compare it with a lot because I've only finished this and the Clone Wars, but like, it's my favorite Star Wars series and it's one of my favorite series of all time. It's easily in my top 5. I loved everything about this. When I was watching season 1, when it got to the prison like episodes, I remember thinking, I was like, I am watching something that is on the same level as like the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones, and I cannot remember the last time I felt that way about a show. Obviously this show is quite relevant to things that are happening now, even though it was written apparently like 5 years ago, and I think it's because when you're watching certain films and series, you might become attached to a character because you see yourself in them. They have certain traits or qualities that you relate to. With Andor, it's just the whole show. As in, the frustration of the characters with the things that are going on, the betrayal they feel, the fear, the anger, the helplessness, and then the wanting to rebel and fight back against these injustices that are happening. It was just everything. It's obviously, I'm gonna have to put it in top of Lisa Frankenstein as well. That's how much I loved Andor. I will not, like, I talk about it a lot on the channel, but like in real life as well, I will not show up about the show. I absolutely loved it, and it makes me so sad to think that it's never really gonna get the recognition it deserves because it's a Star Wars show. So basically anyone who's not a Star Wars fan is not gonna watch this, probably. Very few people will if they hear about like how good it is, and that really makes me mad because this deserves to be up there, like I said, with Game of Thrones and like Peaky Blinders, Breaking Bad, although like I think it's on the same level of those shows easily. Okay, so next is Terrifier 3. If you were to ask me if I liked the Terrifier franchise in general, I'd probably say no. Terrifier 3, however, was very fun. My issue is when I first watched Terrifier 1, I was kind of going through a phase where I watched a lot of gory, disgusting horror films, and I've kind of thankfully grown out of that, and I don't really care for gore, especially when it's very like in a sexual way. But Terrifier 3 was a really fun film, to be honest. It's a great film to react to. It did generally scare me that night. I was home alone. I was freaking out. It was just fun. I felt like they'd heard like the feedback from people about the earlier films and kind of changed it. So yes, it's very gory. It's not for everyone, but it's not like all the gory films. Like I wouldn't put it like it's not like the Human Centipede films or Cannibal Holocaust or anything like that. It's gross, but you can tell that there's a lot. It's just supposed to be fun and not that deep, and just at least that's the vibe that I got. I didn't like Terrifier 2 at all, and Terrifier 3 I think felt very different, and it being Christmas themed, like I don't know, it was fun, but I don't know where to put it. Oh, I'm gonna have to put it in good. Nosferatu is up next. I went to watch this in the cinema around like when it came out, and I was really excited for this film. Again, this is one of the films that there was a lot of hype about it, and I couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed when I watched it. I don't know why I was expecting. I think it's a film that I need to rewatch and that I'll enjoy it more. And it's not that it was bad. I'm gonna have to put it in good, but kind of like at the bottom. I'm gonna put it on top of Terrifier 3. I'm gonna put it in top, yeah. Companion is another film that I went to watch in the cinema. I wasn't planning to watch it in the cinema. It's just I had a plan and the plan kind of fell through, and then we had to find something else to do, and I was like, let's go to cinema. And this was the only film that was on that looked like something we wanted to watch. I already knew just by the name and the poster of her having white eyes that was about a robot. So I just felt like it was a bit predictable. It wasn't like the best storyline ever. Sophie Thatcher's performance in it though was incredible. She is phenomenal, but the film itself, I'm gonna have to put it in, could have been better. So next is 28 Days Later. Still haven't watched any of the other films. Obviously they're technically not zombies, but like they are kind of like zombies. But it being Rage instead was interesting. But what I liked is usually I hate when you're watching like a zombie film and it's like, oh no, the true monsters are actually the people and humans are evil. And I think that's just something that has been done many times. Obviously this film is kind of an older film, but in this case I really liked that twist. Oh, I'm already struggling. I don't know where to put things. I'm gonna put it here. Okay, next is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I have been watching this series in my own time. I finished it about a month ago. I had watched it as a kid because I remember I used to love Scooby-Doo as a kid, and I loved the live action films. And I remember my dad saying to me, what if I told you there's a series where Daphne from Scooby-Doo is the main character and she kills monsters? And I was like, that sounds like the best thing ever. And I think I must have had like DVD sets and that because I didn't watch every single episode or every season. Like I just remembered pieces of it. So then rewatching it as an adult and watching it all, I can say it is such a special show. I mean, Buffy's one of the few shows where the main character is actually the best character. Her character, like I generally, even though I prefer the earlier seasons, but in season 6 there isn't a big bad. Like the big bad is just life. Like it's just them dealing with grief and financial like situations, toxic relationships, addiction. And I mean, it was Buffy's depression is generally one of the best like depictions of depression and just mental health struggles that I have ever seen. They did such a fantastic job with that as well. I mean, the body episode, just phenomenal. Like that's just one of the best portrayals of grief I have ever seen. They did like, you know, the musical episode. I usually don't like musical episodes, but it was just like oh my god, it was just so good. It was so good, and I was sad. I was so sad when it finished, even though season 7 was, it was rough. It was rough. But still, I just loved it. I really loved it, and it's going up here. Ooh. I don't know where to put it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Life-changing show for me, honestly.
What are you doing here? 5 words or less. out for a walk, bitch.
Next, Thunderbolts. Went to watch this in the cinema when it came out. One of those films where I loved the concept, didn't love the execution. The idea of being like, okay, what happens when you have someone with mental illness, trauma, and mental health struggles, and who also has powers, and how do those things affect their powers? That idea, and Bob himself, I loved that aspect of the film. I thought that was brilliant. I just felt like it was rushed. I felt like it needed more time. Again, I loved the whole found family dynamic with everyone. I just felt like the third act especially was very rushed. I wanted to see more of the struggles of every character. Again, them kind of, I feel, bear with me, okay? Multiverse of Madness, right, has Scarlet Witch in it, and her storyline, I don't hate it. I hate how it was rushed, and now we're never going to see it again because it's already been done, and they did it in such a terrible way in this film. And I feel that way about Bob because I loved it, and it's like, I think it needed more, and I think it needed longer. And then there were other things, as much as I really liked Yelena's speech kind of about, you know, how she spends all day on a phone, feeling alone, like she feels like something that many of us can relate to. I'm like, just show us, don't tell us type thing. Like the rest of it just felt a bit like, you know, yeah, we get that these people are broken. That's part of the appeal and why we like them so much. And I feel like when they were going back and, you know, reliving their most traumatic memories, that was a really good opportunity to show us these characters and everything that they've been through. And yeah, it was one of those where it could have been better. I liked it, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna put it here. I liked it, but I think it just needed more time. And I think that's been an issue with Marvel films in general. I did really like it, and it's definitely one of the better MCU films that we've had in a while. Okay, so let's continue. Schindler's List. A brilliant film. Brilliant film. Don't think I've ever cried that much with a film, to be honest. I think, like I said, I think it should be shown in every high school. It just made me forget that I was watching the film. I felt like I was actually there. The ending of showing the real people next to the actors that played them was generally just so beautiful, and I don't ever want to watch this film again. Generally, like, it's brilliant, but I think it's just one of those where it's a one-time watch thing, you know. Revenge of the Sith. This film, I went to watch this, I think it was back in April when they re-released it in the cinema. Seeing Plo Koon die on the big screen ruined my day. This film is it's a special one for me. Like, yes, it's a really good film. Could it be better if it had a better script? Sure. But I'm gonna have to put it up here just because it does have a special place in my heart, the same way Star Wars has a special place in my heart, because of this community and this channel. You know, this is the film that really, I think, attracted the most people. Like, most people found my channel because of my reaction to this. Yeah, it just has a special place in my heart, and so I'm gonna have to put it there. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many really great scenes in this film, and it really upsets me when Anakin turns to the dark side, because it's like, I want to just like put my hand through the screen and just grab him and be like, please do not listen to this filthy, disgusting, evil abomination of an old man. Like, just please don't do it. Like, it really actually hurts. And then obviously, because I'd already started watching the Clone Wars by that point, it hurt, the betrayal of like the clones and stuff. So yeah, it was really good to watch it. I'm so glad that I got to watch it on the big screen. So yeah, definitely a special one. So next we have Dune 1 and Dune 2. I thought these films were really good. The storyline is really interesting. It's funny because you root for Paul because you want justice for House Atreides. Like, they really just killed Oscar Isaac like that. I took that personally, but him taking advantage of the Freeman and starting a cult basically is just not the way to go. But I want him to humble every single one of the houses. I want them to get justice for House Atreides. I want House Atreides on top. So yeah, I really like these films. I don't know if I preferred the first one or the second one. I don't know, they both have some really, really, really good moments. So it's really hard to choose, but I think the second one maybe. So let me just, and obviously the second one has Florence Pugh in it, so obviously it's gonna be better. Death Becomes Her, one that I watched in my own time. I I was like, oh my god, throughout that film. I loved it. I don't know where to put it though. I don't know if I liked it enough for it to say it has a special place in my heart. But you know what? Yeah, I am. I am gonna put it up there. This is my type of film, really. Like I said, that Lisa and Frankenstein, like there's some similarities, I guess, with them, but I just thought it was camp, it was fun, it was iconic. I loved it. Frankenstein, dare I say, best film that we've watched in 2025 on the channel. I don't know, actually. No, I don't think it is. I take it back. One of the best, for sure. One of the best. I really loved it. It was so heartwarming, sweet, and sad. Jacob Elordi, he should win every award. Period. Like, generally one of the best performances I've seen. He did so well. I was editing it recently this week to post it on the channel, and you know what? I know when I really like something, when I really am, like, I'm just having fun editing it, you know, and it doesn't necessarily feel like a chore. It's like I'm enjoying it because I get to watch it again, basically, and I really liked it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it where it is. I don't know, it feels wrong to put it above Schindler's List. I feel like Schindler's List it's a difficult one because I'm gonna feel guilty putting anything on top of it just because it's generally a great film, and obviously because of the topic that's about. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it there. The Clone Wars, probably one that a lot of you guys have been waiting for me to rank. Obviously, it was a journey. It's so hard to rank it because it's so different. It can vary from like arc to arc, but overall, it's a show that I have a lot of appreciation for because it introduced me to characters like Ahsoka and Ventress, who are like in my top 5 favorite characters. I'm not sure if Ventress made my top 5. I can't remember my actual ranking. If she's not in the top 5, she's number 6, okay? And it gave us some brilliant arcs. The prequels out of the 3 trilogies of films was my least favorite, which I know, very unpopular opinion. I just thought the writing was just, could have been better. And it's heavily carried by Revenge of the Sith. But this series helped expand those films, the characters, the clones, even the Roger droids that I hated in the films, I love them now. It really changed my perspective, and I think it's what really made me love Star Wars. Obviously Andor as well and the films, but like it really kind of made me, I submerged myself into this universe and I learned a lot. And it's really ironic because my dad is a massive Star Wars fan. I mean, he went to watch the films in the cinema. He hasn't watched pretty much any of the series. He watched Andor because I was like, you need to watch this. But when he watched Andor, he made a comment about how nobody mentioned the Jedis, and he's like, but you know, why is nobody mentioning the Jedis? Jedis, you know, were great, and like nobody. And I was like, well, actually. And so it's like now, it's like I know more about Star Wars than my dad, and it's just like, it was thanks to this show, and it's like I have my Star Wars community that I love and appreciate so much, and that was because of this series. And so yeah, I have a lot to be thankful for thanks to this series. So yeah, I don't know, do I put it on top of Buffy? Oh, I don't know. No, okay, I'm gonna keep it there. I think that's good. Okay, Black Christmas. I watched that a few days ago. Not expecting much. I just wanted to watch a Christmas film, but I didn't want to watch a Christmas film, if you know what I mean. I was so blown away. I had to post about it on my Instagram stories because I was like, oh my god. I know this isn't a word anymore, but I was shook. I was like, the police actually good at their job. When do you see that in a horror film? The characters, as soon as I saw that it was like pretty much predominantly female cast in a sorority house, like, okay, obviously the killer's a man, so we're gonna get probably a bathtub scene, nudity, and obviously when he's killing them, like he's gonna shred the clothes, and you know, stuff that you kind of usually see with horror films. I was so wrong. Oh my god, this film, I loved it. One of the best horror films I've watched. It was also so genuinely creepy. It was genuinely, I was like, I had my blanket and I was like, oh my god, like I'm actually tense right now, which doesn't really happen to me when I'm watching horror films, just because of how many I've watched. The eye shots, like, oh, and then the plot twist at the end. Oh my god, this was just a brilliant film. Like, I really, I'm sure you'd see how passionate I'm about it. I was just so surprised by it. I don't know where to. Is that my favorite film of 2025 that I've watched? It might just be. It might just be. I know this is gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to leave it there. It might. I have to rewatch it, and then if I rewatch it, it might end up being something like that I put in like special place in my heart. At the moment, I'm gonna keep it there, but I think it's because my expectations were so low. But I mean, it's generally a really good film. It's really, I chef's kiss, honestly. Okay, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is another one that I want to pull. I really struggle with animation. I don't know why. It takes me, as you can see, there's like 2 animated things on, well, oh no, there's 3 animated things on this list. I don't really do animation. I struggle to get into it. It's one of these films that I understand. Like, I understand why people love this film. I understand the hype. It's just one of those films where when you're watching it, it's like, it's not for me, you know? Nick Miller being in it, which if you watch New Girl, I was like, oh my god, is this actually him? Miles Morales, I really liked his character. Definitely, it was just interesting to see his character. I'd obviously heard of him, and Spider-Gwen, and yeah, it was good, but like, it wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. I liked it, but I don't know how it could have been better, because I think it couldn't have been better for other people. But for me, it was just like, I don't feel like I can put it on anything else, because can I put it? I don't know. It feels wrong to put it under Terrifier 3. But okay, I'm gonna put it here. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. I watched this back in October, and I don't usually do musicals. They're not something, I mean, I love Mamma Mia, but I don't usually watch musicals. This, however, ooh, I'm gonna put it here. Iconic. It had some really good songs, and I just thought, I mean, banging Halloween costume, by the way, if you wanted a group Halloween costume, great costumes, very, I just loved it. I don't know what else. Like, there's a lot of stuff about this film that I really liked, and like I said, this is coming from someone who doesn't usually like musicals. It was just fun. It was just really fun, and would definitely rewatch it. I'll probably rewatch it like every October. You season 5. I think this season was good. You is a difficult series because every season is actually quite different from the other. I think season 3 will always be that girl. She'll always be iconic. But one of the things that I really appreciate from the season is that I hate Joe Goldberg. He might be just one of my, I mean, he is one of my most hated fictional characters, because that is how you're supposed to feel. But I was in the minority, so it really pissed me off when generally I'd get triggered by people, and I know a lot of it will be jokes and that, but when you, especially young girls, I want a man like Joe Goldberg, you know, and it would be like, no you don't, like, obviously Joe is an exaggeration, but they get so many things like scarily accurate about men like that. And so one of the things that I appreciated in the last season was the topic of, obviously they were sick of people idolizing Joe, and they're like, okay, this is Joe, here's his true colors, and people are like, oh my god, actually he's quite scary. Like, yeah, he has been since the first season. And its take on like toxic relationships and ending up like the judgment that people get, specifically women, from being in a relationship, and the internet almost like proved the point of, so basically, if you're someone who's been in a relationship, you know, obviously like I said, Joe is an exaggeration, he's a serial killer and whatnot, but usually it's often the victim that gets blamed, right? Because people are like, well, I would have never gotten into a relationship with the person like that anyway. I wouldn't have tolerated that. I wouldn't have done that. But yet so many people love Joe. So it's like you are literally contradicting this, like this message. You're proving the point, because Joe puts on this act, especially because like in his victims like sense, in the women, it's like we as viewers know that he's putting on an act, so we should know better. But like they don't. So he puts on this act because he wants them to like him, and he learns about stuff that they like, and it does such a good job at betraying those type of relationships, and then the judgment that the women go through. And then at the end I nearly cried with like the monologue of like, that doesn't define you, like you can go on with your life and change and get over it, but Joe is never gonna change. Like he's always gonna lose essentially, because of how he is. Like he's always gonna be miserable and sad and angry, and it ending with him getting the fan mail from like the fangirls. And it's just like, I just think they did such a good job of showing like I know like Penn Badgley was so annoyed at people romanticizing his character, and I just think they did such a good job of showing the reality of these type of relationships of men like Joe Goldberg, and the hypocrisy of people, and when it comes to these relationships. And I've done such a bad job explaining why I like the season so much, but I hope it still made sense. So because of that, I really respected what they did with the last season, because I remember when people were saying that they were glad that Beck died because she was boring or whatever. Like it really boiled my blood. And it's like, it's just a series, it's not that deep. And it's like, well, when it is kind of being based on stuff that happens a lot, it does trigger me a little bit. I don't know, do I put it here? I'm gonna leave it there. Dead Poet Society. As soon as I finished watching this film, I went onto Letterboxd and I updated my 4 favorites and included this film. Like it's at the top. I really loved this film. The messages in this film, because there were a few different ones, are beautiful, and I loved its critique on societal expectations. Obviously in this case, in the film, it was young boys, teenage boys, but it's something that everyone can relate to regardless of gender and age. Also its take on if you're someone who's more creative, obviously it talked about toxic masculinity as well, and its take on that, which I loved that messaging. But again, its take on creativity, and if you're someone who's more creative, because we live in such like a capitalistic world, people view things like creating art, whether it be acting, poetry, drawing, painting, whatever, because in very few cases do people actually manage to make a really good living out of that. It's viewed as, it's discarded. Even as you're a kid, if you're someone who is more creative and has always been more artistic, you would have heard that growing up like your whole life, of people being judgmental about those things because it's not the best way to make money. And some people just can't fathom that is something that you're passionate about and that's why you want to do it. Yeah, so that message, I loved that. Again, the take on toxic masculinity and the expectations on young boys, and what they can and can't do, and what's considered a suitable profession and job and lifestyle for men and what's not. And it's a film that if I ever have a son, I want him to watch it. I like to think that he would already know those messages, because it's something that as a parent I would be passionate about, explaining that to him. And I'd want my children, like the dad in the film, Neil's dad is like, I'd want my children to actually pursue their passions and be happy. I still think that it was a metaphor as well for Neil being gay, which I think is again another layer of the film that makes it so much more beautiful and heartbreaking. I just really loved it. Like I really I was going into expecting to like it, but it was just, I think, no, this is my favourite film that I watched this year. And then Black Christmas, I think. Although I really love Lisa Frankenstein. I don't know. There's so many. I've watched some really good films this year that I really liked. The Truman Show. I watched this early in the year. I can't remember that much about it. I think I knew the plot twist, you know, because I'd heard of this film, and so I knew already some stuff going into it. So I think if you'd had watched it not knowing it, it would have been so much better. But yeah, I think it was good, but I like it. It was good. Okay, so next we have Weapons. Again, a film that was hyped up a lot by the internet. I tried not to have unrealistic expectations because of the hype, and also because I really liked Barbarian. Like, it did some really creepy things, don't get me wrong. I mean, the eyes and the running, it was really creepy. I just don't know if it'll hold up as much as Barbarian does, if that makes sense. I think it's a film that people really moved on from it quite quickly, but I'm gonna put it in good. I thought it was good. It had some really good jump scares as well that really got me. The Marvels. So the reason I didn't go to watch this in the cinema was because I knew obviously it did flop, and I was kind of expecting that. I wanted to go to watch it, but I had no one to go with, and even though I don't mind going to cinema on my own, when I have gone to cinema on my own, I've had such a terrible experience with like just cinema etiquette from people. I didn't go to watch it, so I just watched it one day on Disney, and I thought it was so much fun. I was never one of these people that hated Captain Marvel. I thought it was an alright film. Is it the best MCU film? No. Is it the worst? No. Not when Thor and Ant-Man, their films are literally right there. And I thought this film was so much better than the first one. I thought it was so much fun. I loved the dynamic between the three characters. I really liked Miss Marvel. I watched the series and I thought it was so much fun. As someone who was also a fangirl when I was a teenager, I really loved Kamala. And like I said, the dynamic between them, I really liked. I think they improved Captain Marvel's character so much. I liked it. Did I like it more than Thunderbolts? Ooh, I don't know. Maybe underneath Thunderbolts. Fantastic Four. I'm gonna have to put it here. I did not like it that much. It had some good parts. I just really didn't vibe with it. I don't know. Like, I remember, I think I even prefer like the original Fantastic Four film from the early 2000s. The dialogue was so cheesy. The story was like, okay. The baby just really pissed me off. Like, I don't know. Like, if I was the people, and they're like, okay, they're either gonna destroy a planet or we give them this baby, you give them the baby. Like, I don't know. I was expecting to love Sue and think that, like, oh, iconic character, and I didn't feel that way about any character. 10 things I hate about you. It hurts to put it here, but I'm gonna have to put it here. I have been wanting to watch this film for so long. I thought this film was gonna change my life. I'm gonna love it. I just know it's gonna be my type of film. I don't really watch rom-coms or anything like that. If the film had just been about Kat and Patrick, I think it would have been so much better. I didn't really care for the other characters, but yeah, I think my expectations were just unrealistically high, that I was gonna be disappointed anyway. Yeah, I liked it, but it didn't do as much as I thought it was gonna do for me. Gone Girl. So Gone Girl was a rewatch, and rewatching it, like the first time I watched it a few years ago, I knew the plot twist, but I still really enjoyed the film. Upon my rewatch, I feel like it's not the type of film you rewatch. To be, in my opinion, I just think I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the first time. I'm gonna have to put it here because Amy Dunne changed my life. No, she is such an amazing character, and it really irks me because if women were so emotional and were so manipulative and were all so this, why is it not represented in media? Why do we not have more characters like Amy Dunne or Love Quinn or Villanelle? Like, that is what I want to see. I lived for Amy Dunne. I lived, like, her whole monologue of, like, you know that what she's doing is wrong, but it's what men must feel with like all these other male villains, that there's so many that it's like, oh my god, we actually got one. And so it's like iconic character. I actually got the book for Christmas. I know a lot of people don't like it when it has like the movie poster as the cover, but I think this is like the only one. This is the only one I could find that had, you know, they didn't have any of the cover. But yeah, I got the book for Christmas, and I'm really excited to watch it or to read it because people say that it's better than the film. So it's like I said, it's not the best. It's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. Just when I rewatched it, I didn't think it was as good, but Amy Dune was just like, wow. Iconic character. She's evil, she's messed up, but like, she honestly kind of had a point with Nick. I didn't care for Nick at all. Even when I first watched the film, I was like, I do not care about this man. Interstellar. This is a film that it blew me away. It blew me away. It was an experience, and that's how I described it when I watched it. I'm gonna have to put it here. It's at the top. I don't know if it has a special place in my heart. I will definitely tell everyone who's not watched this film to watch this film. I'm gonna be one of those annoying people now. I think I mentioned it in my film where I was like, in my reaction where I was like, you know, this is one of those films where when you tell people you haven't watched it, everyone's like, you've really not watched Interstellar? I am now one of those people. It was so good. I can't think of anything that I didn't like about it. It was generally like, wow, I understand the hype, and I feel like such an idiot for not watching this before. One of the best films I've ever watched. I will definitely watch it again, and I will make my friends who have not watched it watch this film for sure. Brilliant. Just brilliant. Brilliant acting, writing, the story. I loved it. I really did. I'm so thankful that I finally watched it. I'm glad that I watched it on the channel as well. I think it was just brilliant. Okay. This one is a bit of a sensitive topic. I'm not going to say much about it because I know that the Roman Empire, for some reason, is something that is very near and dear to the heart of straight men. But do I look like a straight man to you? No. So it's ironic because I actually did really like the film. The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Another one that I watched in my own time. Very bizarre film. Very weird. I was very confused. Yeah, it was weird. I really liked it though. I like weird films like that. This is when it's gonna be triggering if you're someone who didn't watch the intro and didn't listen to my explanation of the tier rankings, because this... Ooh, I don't know where to put this actually. Here. Life-changing series. I am Miranda, pre-Steve. Important to note, I love any series like New Girl and Friends where the main characters are not like teenagers or in their early 20s. In this case, they're in their 30s and 40s. It's such a great show about relationships, friendships, careers. I will wait, even if I have to wait 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, I will watch the Sex and the City films and the new series on the channel. Obviously, it's no secret that I have more male subscribers than female subscribers, so I will wait until I get more female subscribers and I will watch them because I genuinely think it will be so much fun. If you ask me what video am I dying to do, it would be those ones. I think, because I know obviously I've had some stuff spoiled from the series. I know that Mr. Big dies. And I think I'm gonna get really upset. I actually really like Mr. Big. I even relate to him sometimes throughout the show, which I don't know what it says about me. But yeah, that's my red flag. I really like him. I fancy him a lot, actually. And I understood Carrie 100%. I would have personally stayed with Aiden, but because Aiden's also... Aiden. I love Aiden. Blair Witch Project. This is one that I'd heard a lot about, and I'd heard people say that it's boring, that it was scary when it came out, but it's not aged well. I 100% disagree. I thought this film is one of the better horror films that I've seen because you don't know what's going on and you don't even see anything. I think going into it, I knew about how this was filmed and how the actors were generally camping and were scared at times, so that really helped enhance the experience of watching it. But I thought the problem with horror films is that they over-explain and everything always ends up being a demon, and they go so, like, it loses how scary it is because they feel the need to over explain it. With this, they didn't explain anything. They didn't explain anything. We don't even see it. It's great. I think that's so much better, and I think more films should be like that. That's what made it so genuinely creepy. Obviously, it being like a handheld camera and that, and kind of being what made it that genre so popular, it made it even creepier. But I thought this was a banging horror film. I have to say, I really liked it. Eyes Wide Shut. One of the films that I watched in my spare time, I think in October, maybe. I don't know where I'd put it, to be honest. I think maybe here. Yeah, really eerie. It was really eerie. It flew by, like the film flew by. I just felt like there were parts that they could have left out and then expanded on other parts of the film. The Lost Boys, a film that I was really excited to watch because I'd heard about it since I was a kid, and ultimately was a little bit underwhelmed by it. I think because we don't actually see the Lost Boys that much. We had a very annoying main character, Michael, who I just thought was really annoying. Nanook was the best part of the film, and Michael's brother. I just wanted to see more of the Lost Boys, you know. I felt like they could have shown us more of them, and I like the third act of the film was definitely the best act, but I feel like I'm gonna have to put it here. The Collector, I don't know when I watched this. It was alright. I'm gonna have to put it maybe here. Stranger Things season 5. So I know I said that I didn't include things that we've just we've not finished because we've only got one episode left. I have watched all the other episodes besides the final episode. I'm not vibing with the season so far. I just think that Stranger Things, to me, you could divide it in seasons 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 5. That's when you kind of see the most noticeable difference. But still, there were elements of season 3 and 4 that I really enjoyed. Season 5, however, I just don't know what. I just don't care. I don't care because anything that happens, anything that goes wrong, is like, well, I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry because they'll all be fine. They'll all be fine. So it doesn't make me feel tense. It doesn't make me feel invested because I know that everything will magically work out like it always does. All the characters have no obstacles really to overcome because they overcome it so easily. And geniuses that outsmart even the military. And Vecna, I just don't care about Vecna at all. Because at least in the start of season 4, you know, when he's snapping people's limbs and just killing traumatized people, which I thought was really messed up. He was really creepy, and in this season, like, what's he done? Like, kidnap some kids? I don't know if I'm supposed to care about the kids, because I don't. And it's supposed to be like this world, like, you know, the world could be destroyed, and it's like, I don't really feel that. I don't feel that. Like, everybody is just overcomes everything so easily, and I just feel like they've built it up so much. I generally think that this might be Game of Thrones final season. I think we might be getting that, because I know that a lot of people online have not been happy with the season, and a lot of people get angry that people don't like the season. It's like, you know, it's not that I don't want to not like this season, but it's just it's been disappointing. It's been disappointing. So I'm gonna have to put it there, which it pains me to put it so low down, and I'm hoping that the final episode, I don't want it to be like Game of Thrones, where it then is going to fall off the face of the earth and nobody's ever going to talk about it again because the ending was that bad. I don't want it. I really hope that this last episode is going to be really good, because I miss when Stranger Things was like that series, and it just feels like it's what's it called? Like an imitation of itself, a parody of itself, of what it used to be. Heretic. This is a film that I watched. I didn't have the highest expectations for it. I thought it was just going to be an average horror film, and I feel like that is what it was. At first, I thought it was really creepy. You know, you have these two young girls that are locked in this man's house, and he's being really weird and saying he has a wife, but you know he doesn't have a wife. That was really creepy, the start of it, and then it just kind of went off on a tangent, and I don't know. It was interesting to see Hugh Grant play a villain. Sinister. Yeah, this film, it was... I might put it here. I liked it. I knew I wasn't necessarily... I was expecting to not find it scary, and I didn't find it scary. The tapes and that were really creepy, and the music and that. But I do appreciate that this is one of, like, it does not have a happy ending. In fact, it, you know, you think he's gonna beat it or whatever, and it's like, no. That was, I liked the ending. Edward Scissorhands. This was a rewatch. I watched this recently with a friend, and I think this is a film, I loved it as a kid, and for anyone who's like neurodivergent, I think this film, and kind of like just Tim Burton films in general, is such like a special one, because they really capture that so well. I know that's not necessarily the point of the film, but that's like, it's so beautiful and it's so sweet to watch, and also really sad, because you relate to Edward so much, and it's a lot sadder. Like when I was, me and my friend, like we both watched it as a kid, it's like it's much more sad than I remember it being as a kid. But I think this is a film that has a special place in the heart of neurodivergent people and introverts and anyone like that, because it's like, this is like, Edward is just so relatable in that sense, and it's a really sweet film. Ooh, let's put it there. I'm actually going to swap those around. Child's Play 2. Yeah, it was an okay film. I liked Kyle's character. I feel so bad for Tommy. This whole story is just Tommy being traumatized and adults gaslighting him. I feel like I want to see more of that storyline. I know that sounds weird, but it's like, it would be so hilarious if like the rest of the films is just Tommy as he gets older, and like nobody believes him about Chucky, and he's just being gaslighted his whole life until he eventually just goes insane. The scene in the toy factory was really fun. I'm going to put it here. I'm really excited to continue the franchise as well. I think it's just going to get better as the films go on and we get to the series eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through the franchise, but I'm so excited to see Tiffany. Vox Machina Season 3. I watched this earlier this year. I kind of binge watched Season 1 and 2 of Vox Machina maybe like 2 years ago, I think, because there's quite a big gap between Season 2 and 3. So again, because it was animated, it took me a little bit to get into it. I think of the 3 seasons, this has been my least favourite. So I might have to put it, I don't know. No, I'm going to put it here. I wept, obviously spoilers, when Percy dies. Hated that. He was my favorite. But yeah, I really like it. I watched it because I played Baldur's Gate 3 religiously, and I played D&D. I played D&D like maybe like 5 times. It's just hard, if you want to play it in person and you don't have a specific like group to play. But I somehow found out about this show and that it's about D&D, and so I really like it. I like the show, but yeah, I think Season 3, I think because it was there was such also a gap between me watching the first 2 and then the third one. It just, like I said, because it's animation and it takes me a little bit to get into it, it took a while, but yeah. But the first 2, I really loved the first 2. Tales of the Jedi. This, sorry, I'm moving some stuff around. I might, like I said, I might change a lot of things around when we're finished, but okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, Tales of the Jedi was such a great show. It was really great episodes. I really liked the 15-minute long episodes. I think that was just really digestible and easy to watch. I loved learning more about Dooku and how he kind of joined the dark side and his frustration with the Jedi. Master Yaddle was a really interesting character as well, and obviously we got to see more of Ahsoka. We see how her parents found out she was a Jedi, and then her after Order 66, and seeing obviously that, like many people pointed out in my comments, that Anakin is actually the reason why she survived Order 66. Yeah, it was just really good. I wanted more. So I'm excited that we have more Tales of series. Superbad. Honestly, I didn't vibe with this film because I don't do comedies, and I said this in the intro. I don't do comedies, and I really liked the McLovin storyline and like Seth Rogen and stuff. I really just could not stand Jonah Hill and his character. I really just have never found the whole like sex jokes and dick jokes to be funny, like even when I was like 13 or 14. It's just never really been, and I just, like I said, I don't watch comedies. Like, as you can see, when you see what I've watched in my own like spare time, I just don't watch them. So I'm gonna have to put it like here, because there were elements of the film that I enjoy, like I said, the McLovin storyline and stuff. But yeah, Jonah Hill's character was obviously the main character, so that was just, I felt like that Cynthia Erivo meme when she's just like, does like this turns and like smiles during pretty much all of his scenes. Interview with the Vampire, I watched this on Halloween. Slay. Honestly, I think I'm gonna, yeah. I don't know. Let me just, yeah, that feels better. Yeah. I really like that film. It's obviously very iconic. I really want to watch the series, but it's not available, I believe, on anything for me. Challenges. This is a bit of a weird film. Like, it wasn't the film that I was expecting it to be, because I was expecting it to be more of a bisexual throuple, which is what people on the internet made it out seem. It was less bisexual and more just very toxic people doing horrible things for each other, which was very entertaining. So, I don't know. Dark Knight trilogy. This is one, I think this is probably going to be my most unpopular opinion, but I'm going to put this. This was the one I liked the most, The Dark Knight Rises. There. Dark Knight. Maybe there. And Dark Knight Rises. Oh, sorry, Batman Begins. There. My explanation for this. I liked all three films. However, and I mentioned this in video, I don't really care for action films, and the first two especially felt more like action films than superhero films, which was kind of the vibe that they were going for. I really enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises, because I'm someone who, I would have preferred, you know, take out the explosions, take out the car chases, take out like Batman and his car and his bike, things that I really just personally don't care for, and replace those scenes with more scenes of the characters themselves, because I really liked Bruce Wayne. I'm a Bruce Wayne stan, I'm a Batman stan, I'm a Catwoman, I'm not even a stan. You have a stan here, I'm whatever's up here when it comes to Catwoman. I thought those characters, and like even Alfred, such interesting characters, Scarecrow as well. I wanted to explore them more, and I know it's just not that type of film. I think the third one was my favourite because we see Bruce fail, and then, you know, he's really going through it, and then he comes back, and Catwoman, the short time that we have her character, had some great character development, and it just felt less action-packed than the other two. The Dark Knight is really good, and obviously Heath Ledger's performance as Joker is one of the best ones that I've ever seen, and one of the best performances. I mean, it was too action-packed for me, but I still, like I said, thought they were really good, and I enjoyed them. It's just not my favourite genre. Overall, very solid trilogy, and I can understand why so many people love these films and think that it is one of the best trilogies ever and the best superhero films. To me, it was just like, okay, another car chase. I want to learn more about Bruce and his trauma and why he is the way that he is. I mean, even though we know that, but it's like, I want to know more about his life. Like, what does he do? I wanted to see more of his relationship with Catwoman. Like, that's what I would have liked to see. And to end off, these are two films I literally watched recently, and literally watched one yesterday. Like I said, not rom-coms aren't usually the type of film that I watch. These films, however, I really liked. I do love me a bit of Colin Firth, I have to be honest. It changed my life when I saw him in Nanny McPhee when I was a kid. But I weirdly enough related to every single, like, the three main characters in this film in their own ways. And it was like a rom-com, but it was just actually more realistic. Like, usually when I watch a rom-com, I feel sad afterwards, because it's like, that's just not realistic, that's not real, and that doesn't, whereas with this just felt a bit more realistic, and the characters felt more human. Yeah, I think it's because it was a British rom-com as well. I think it just, the characters looked more realistic and more like real people. Like Colin Firth's a very attractive man, but when you look at him, it's like he looks like a normal person, you know. It's not like some, I don't know, like and I think that's what I really liked about this film, is that all three characters felt very realistic, very human, and so, and each of them was quite relatable in their own way. So I actually, I'm gonna put it here. Although I'm more likely to rewatch this than Batman Begins. Sorry. Yeah. And then the second one was good, but it was not as good, so I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, I think, okay, I'm gonna have a think and I might rearrange some of these. Okay, so I played around with it. I think I'm happy with how I've got it right now. I think overall this has been a really good year, like as in I've watched some really great films, series as well, and that's one of the things I appreciate about having this channel, one of the reasons why I started it, as someone who hasn't watched a lot of films, to watch them basically. So I think it's been overall a really good year. Done my first tier ranking, which I'm very, like, this was a lot of fun. My voice hurts because I don't think I've ever spoken this much and it was hard. Honestly, ranking some of these has been hard. And like, I moved Schindler's List up and it's like, did I enjoy Black Christmas more? Yeah, but Schindler's List, I'm gonna have to keep it more towards the top because it is a really great film. It's just hard. Like I said, there are some that it's like, you know, that they are technically better because the writing, the acting, the cinematography, the storyline, everything was better, but they're just other films and series that's like, they're not as good, but they just have more lovable qualities that I enjoy a lot more. Hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and also just let me know what film was your favorite this year. Not necessarily a new film, if there's anything you watched this year in particular that you really liked. And if you have any thoughts and opinions of what your personal ranking would be of any of these, I'd be really interested to hear. So yeah, thank you everyone for such a great 2025. Really, generally, like I said, YouTube has been my highlight and this community has been my highlight. My Star Wars community, generally, you guys make me so happy and I love doing this. I love recording and even at the editing and everything. It's brought me so much joy this year, so hopefully 2026 will be bigger and better. So yeah, thank you everyone, and hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.